Hello friends, today we will discuss about cloud native infrastructure or scalable infrastructure. So first of all we need to understand why it is cloud native scalable infrastructure. Why do we at all use these kind of structures, and what is the advantage of it in place of regular or generic database centric structure or a generic cloud structure. So, first of all, cloud native is an architecture where you use predefined services, pre-built services provided by different service providers, different cloud providers, to so that you can focus only on the business logic or the business models rather than focusing on the entire technology stack. So this gives you an advantage to provision the infrastructure on the go. You may not need to spend entire days or entire months just trying to provision or manage the infrastructure. So now once we are managing the infrastructure, we also need to understand this thing that the infrastructure may need to have certain properties. It may not need to be just an infrastructure that is running the some systems. It need to be an infrastructure that is effectively running the system. It needs to understand the system needs on its own. Also, we need to have certain tools enabled onto the infrastructure so that we may not undergo some downtime or different type of errors or issues while deploying or while using the application. So also there is always a trade-off between what kind of service we want. We want a service which is always up, or we can compromise on the uptime or downtime, and we want a service which is highly efficient. So there are different theorems, like CAP is one theorem where consistency, availability and partial tolerance. So these are the things that we need to decide early on while using the deployments. Also, we need to be aware about different services provided by different infrastructure providers or different service providers, different cloud providers, so that we may not need to just bootstrap different services on our own or create certain services on our own. We need to know the upside, downside of different kind of services or all kind of services. Also, when we talk about different services, we need to understand differences. If we are using S3 for storage management, we need to know why to use S3 and why not to use S3. What are the different advantages? What are the different disadvantages? How does S3 connect to different services? How does it internally works? What kind of images should be uploaded on S3 to make sure that the images are pulled in a ready-made time? So other than S3, what are the different providers where we can use the static images? Does MSN provide an Intel provider, or should we keep it on RDS, or should we keep on in their CDN systems, so that we can show the images on a very fast mode or in a mode which is highly reliable and scalable at the same time? So we need to understand. Also, this understanding will come with time. There's no certain logic behind using any particular system in any particular infrastructure. It is mostly about what kind of system we understand about. So as we go understand this architecture, so cloud native is some services which are already relying on cloud. So as you can read into this article itself, that cloud native has benefits such as you choose the infra, and it is provisioned in a ready-made mode. You may not need to install anything from the scratch. You may not need to be aware about downtime. You do not need to worry about the downtimes also. So servers also are provided in a ready-made time. So virtualization is again an advantage of cloud native. So you may not need to worry about where service is hosted, how exactly it is working. You may not need to know about although you may need to know about what availability zones or different kind of locations where your service will provide fast service and where server may not be providing a fast service. Still, you may not need to know the underlying architecture onto which your servers are running. Although it's a great advantage if you know certain things, since it may give you an advantage once you create a combination of on in-house or on-premise architecture, on-premise infrastructure, and on cloud infrastructure. Once you do a mapping between these things and you know the underlying architecture, it is a huge advantage. So this is called infrastructure as a service. When your entire infrastructure is provided on the go, you may not need to worry about how your infrastructure is actually running. No, not need to worry about is there a certain way that your infrastructure